We absolutely got after the Boston Marathon yesterday. It was a big day. Brennan and I both ran it, slugged it out. Could say we didn't do enough training, and we just went out there and sent it with everything we had.
That was an amazing experience. That's all I've been, when people have asked me about how it was just special. I think something for me too, in particular, growing up in Massachusetts, being able to run that race, that was my first time running it. Running through the streets of Massachusetts, starting all the way in Hopkinton, going all the way to Boston, so many people out. It was awesome. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it was electric. Just crowds all the way through, energy, noise, everything you hear of. But also for us, tons of friends and family out there, people we know, just being from the local area, which makes it that much more special.
Yeah, it was so cool when I would run through the center of town, such as Natick, Needham, Wellesley. For instance, Natick, there was a bunch of kids who went to college with. They were
Legends.
I didn't know they were going to be there, and I saw them on the way. And just having that energy throughout the entire race was something special. I mean, a common thing I've been asked is, oh, do you listen to music? How can you run 3 hours without listening to music? It's so easy out there because there's just so much going on. That the energy of the crowd, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just special.
Yeah, it's just different. It's just everyone's there. Everyone's fired up. It's a holiday in Massachusetts. It's Patriots Day. And it's just, honestly, everyone is energy through the roof.
Seriously.
It was electric.
Let's cut to the chase. Let's talk about the infamous video.
What video?
What went down? What happened? Give us a breakdown.
Okay, so at the race, at the very, very end, I had to make a split-second decision. When I got to the top of Heartbreak Hill, which is mile 21, I had to go to the bathroom. I was feeling it, but I also knew my pace was slowing. I had not trained properly, only for about 2 weeks of real marathon training, and my legs were feeling it. So I said, okay, if I'm gonna make it under 3 hours, avoid people absolutely chirping me and ripping me, I've got to go to the bathroom in my pants and keep hauling it. So literally, I'm out there, I'm dying, going real slow on Heartbreak Hill, let it go. All of a sudden, I get one of those like second, third wins. I start moving a little bit better, still just slugging out to the finish line. And it kept coming all the way those last 5 miles. I kept having to let it out. Even on literally the last 200 meters when you're on Boylston Street, it was all coming out. And I made it to that finish line, 2 hours, 56 minutes, below 3 hours. And I was fired up after, and I gave the people the truth. I said, hey, to make this happen, this is what I had to do for the people every day. Let's go.
And just to clear up some confusion, not confusion, but some questions, people noticed in the video that it looked more blood.
Exactly.
Can you explain what happened?
Definitely. So when you're running, and if your shorts get wet from the sweat, I was also drinking a ton of water and Gatorade every single stop. I'm pouring it because it was a reasonably hot day, nothing crazy, but like 60 or 70 degrees. So my shorts were wet. And then when I was going to the bathroom in them for literally 5 miles, it's probably like 40 minutes or something running around with it, I was getting crazy rash, burn, and chafing. So I just had to keep going through. But I imagine I just got cut up, and then there was tons of blood mixed in.
Yeah, I think people are concerned that maybe you were actually like disposing of blood within your bowels, but it was more so the chafing that caused the blood, which is what people saw, right?
I think so, yeah. If you were to look at the inside of my legs right now, I mean, it was pretty brutal.
And some people might say, why'd you post that? It's so disgusting. Why did you post it?
I always try to give the people the truth and be honest. And yeah, I made it to that goal time, but I had to put it all on the line, literally giving everything I had and then some to make it happen. And that's how far I was willing to go.
Hey, yeah, that's so gritty. When I first saw that video after I finished, because I started an hour and 15 minutes after Davis.
Yes. Brennan crushed it.
Yeah, it was awesome. I set a PR, 3:09. My goal was to beat my previous PR, which was 3 hours, 18 minutes. And I up until that point, I had run 2 marathons previously, and both marathons I hit 3:18. So going into this, that was my goal. So I'm super pleased that I got it, especially because Boston was the hardest in terms of elevation gain throughout the entire races. The other 2 marathons I ran were relatively flat, but honestly, I didn't think the hills were too bad because I paced pretty strategically, and the downhills definitely help propel propel you and help you run faster. So I thought that was great. But going back to Davis, just something that people might, you've been saying that you only trained for 2 weeks. People in the comments are probably like, oh, he's not locked in, etc. Want to kind of give the lead up of why you only trained 2 weeks, and because typically you'll have a pretty big training block.
Most definitely. Yeah, up until about February, which is about 2 months ago, I'd be doing consistent swimming, biking, and running. I mean, on a given day, I'm training anywhere from an hour to 2 hours a day, and I had these bucket list items in the past. So for a few years, I'd be training really consistently, doing long distance races, whether it's marathons, triathlons, ultra marathons. So I had a high base fitness level, but about mid-February, I got really sick. I could literally barely bend my arms and legs without pain. It was brutal. So there was about a 6-week stretch from mid-February until about 2, maybe 2.5 weeks ago, where I really didn't exercise hardly at all. On top of that, with some of the social media attention, I'd be out later, just different commitments, trying to coordinate that and take advantage of that opportunity. So for about 6 weeks, I really didn't exercise much. And about 2.5 weeks ago, I realized I had the opportunity to run the Boston Marathon. I saw my doctor, he said I was all set to go. So I just trained hard for 2 weeks. I mean, I hammered 2 15-mile runs and a 20-mile run to get ready. And I just said, I'm sending it with everything I have on race day.
Yeah, in typical Davis classic fashion,
oh yeah,
he goes out super hard. Because what was your average pace for the first 15 miles?
The first 15 miles, I was probably like a 6:10 pace, I would say. I mean, I was cooking, I was feeling good. I was checking my heart rate, everything was good. And even later in the race, when I slowed down, the heart rate, the conditioning was there, but I just did not have the same leg strength. And so I got slowed down. I was just chugging away.
Yeah, because you, at least for me, building up to this, everyone was saying you got to save yourself for miles 15 to 21 because that's where the real hills are. And that's exactly where Davis's legs gave out on him.
Yes.
But another big topic for this marathon was the heat. Yes. Can you kind of give us your insight? Because Davis has a very unique perspective on weather or just factors that you can't control.
Yes.
Because the biggest thing prior to race was the buzz that was going around was, oh, it's so hot out. Like, oh, I wish there was some cloud cover. I wish there was that. Can you just give some insight on your mindset?
I was just thinking, whatever it is, I'm just going to power through and get it done. I know if it's going to be hot, okay, I'm just going to drink as much as I can, but it's definitely going to hurt more, and we're just going to get through it. And I guess it's not even that hot when you think about 60, 70 degrees. It's just if people are training in sub-freezing weather up here in the north all winter, and then all of a sudden it's like the first 60 or 70 degree day, it's probably literally twice as hot. I don't know the exact science, but it's twice as hot as they're used to. It's just a shock to the system probably. So who knows, maybe that contributed a little bit to my stomach issues, but I was going to power through that. And honestly, it's probably just more I hadn't done consistent training at that intensity and speed.
And you even just had that mindset going in prior to the race. You said, I'm going to give it everything I have, even if I'm going to be wrecked after this race.
Yes.
And that's what you did, which is super impressive, being able to push yourself to that level and then also continue till the finish line and still go sub 3.
Yes.
But never doubt, I mean, I feel like you've always had that mindset.
Definitely not textbook. I was like, hey, let's hammer this.
Yeah.
Brennan ran a smart race though. Your pacing was solid throughout. You were able to pick it up a little at the end. Really perfect race by Brennan.
Yeah,
just textbook.
It really was. I mean, for just to give people some context too, as I mentioned earlier, Davis went off around 10 o'clock because he qualified. I had an invitational bid. So I was the second to last wave to go off. I went off a little after 11:15. So the first 5 miles or so, it was so congested with so many different runners trying to pass, like weaving in and out, weaving in and out. It was really difficult. So my first couple miles were slow, which probably helped me out. And then once I got to mile 5, I kind of settled in around 7:20-ish, staying on top of my hydration because I knew if I went too hard and I didn't drink, it was going to be brutal. But I stayed on top of it, stayed disciplined. I remember around mile 9, I said, oh, I'm feeling pretty good. Maybe I could pick it up. But then I had this internal dialogue of, no, let's relax, because by the time you get to like mile 20, your internal dialogue is totally different. But I hit the hills. I said, yeah, this isn't bad. And the whole race, I was passing people too, because I started so far back. Mm-hmm. So I think that positive momentum of just passing people, helped, and then the crowd. And I remember getting to I've never run the course before, so I got to the top of what I thought was Heartbreak Hill, but I wasn't sure. And I asked the woman next to me, I was like, was that Heartbreak Hill? And she said, yeah. And then I knew from there it was all downhill, so I picked it back up. And running down Boylston Street, all-time moment. So many people just screaming. And it's just, I don't know how many meters, maybe 600 meters when you take a left. And you're just going all the way to the finish line.
Just cruising.
The worst part was once you finish, they funnel you out for probably, half a mile, like 800 meters. Probably. And there's just so many people walking dead pretty much, just trying to get to a place to sit down.
Yes.
But
it's a long walk. Yeah, I didn't even make that walk. I think it cleaned up right away in the medical tent.
Yeah.
Just because they're like, you can't be walking around with all that.
Yeah. I did know your stuff on that.
Like, Brennan was a beast. He just went out there. How about your training leading in?
My training wasn't ideal in terms of marathon prep. I mean, you see all these people training for 16, 12 weeks, but leading up, I mean, going into the year 2024, I didn't think I was going to run Boston because I didn't qualify and I wasn't doing the charity. Because in order to get into Boston, correct me if I'm wrong, you either have to qualify, you get an invitational invite, or you have to raise X amount of money for a charity.
Yes.
And I knew I didn't qualify. I knew I wasn't doing a charity. But then a kid we played basketball with in high school, his father had extra invitational invites and reached out to us, which we appreciate that. We appreciate that a lot.
Big thanks, big thanks.
So I didn't even know it was coming up. I get the opportunity to do it, and I said sure. But leading up, I was doing boxing, so I was focused on boxing. Finished up boxing mid-March and then had 3 solid weeks of training and just let it go, ripped it. But I was already a pretty good, it wasn't as if I was coming off the couch. I had a good baseline for boxing with the cardio. It was more so getting my legs used to it. But I have said with the more endurance events that we do, it's easier.
I agree.
I remember the first time I ran 15 miles, I almost died, it felt like, because my body just wasn't used to it. And growing up running cross country, I would always stress the kids, hey, don't walk. And I remember that 15-mile run was the first time I ever walked. I walked at like mile 13 because I was shaking. I thought I was going to pass out. But your body adapts.
Yeah, I agree. Just to have whatever it is, it's almost like, I don't know, some type of code that you can tap into again and just dig deeper every time.
Yeah, because remember when Davis was first getting into endurance races, we did a 10-mile, I know you've told this story before, but we did a 10-mile track workout. And Evan and I kind of left you in the dust.
Yeah, you all cooked me and I was dead sick after it too.
But then since then, you've just taken off. And that's the other thing is when you do these things to shock the body, your body learns, as you mentioned.
Yes.
But usually, I remember after doing some crazy runs, I just go right to bed because I just can't do anything else.
Yeah, you just hit it, break down, build it back up. And I agree, it just builds back stronger and stronger, whatever it is, our biology, DNA, whatever.
What was your favorite thing about Boston Marathon? Because this is your 3rd time running.
Yes, it was my 3rd time, and for me, the best part was once I hit that point where my legs were giving out, literally I just said inside, I have to get this done, no way around it, and just gritting it out. I mean, there's so many people yelling, like, locked in, let's go, Davis. Just friends, family, where I could hear them. Sometimes I couldn't even see them because I was really so locked in, just moving forward ahead. But I just had that crazy energy, and I probably had to dig deeper on this one than any of the other ones.
Was there any point that you said, oh, maybe I should quit, or was the entire time I'm gonna do this?
I just wasn't even thinking. I'm just moving until I hit that line. I just can't stop. Like you're saying, just trying to keep the legs going, even if I'm almost just like speed walking, just trying to lunge forward, and then eventually the body just clicked in. I was able to carry through.
Yeah, because something from ultra running that we've talked about before is that just moving forward is better than not moving forward, even if that's a really slow shuffle. Because over time, that slow shuffle is going to add up to significant time gained in your overall time.
100%.
So
hey, that's why I was thinking, really, that same mentality from those prior races. Hey, just shuffle the feet forward. People probably thought I was cross-country skiing out there at some points. Like, what is this person doing? But I was like, I'm just going forward, and it worked out.
Yeah.
Strategy. It's not always going to be pretty, but sometimes it's got to be ugly, and you just have to grit it out.
Yeah, slug it out.
Yeah, I mean, I always say we're not out here winning any world championships or
That's
anything.
true.
We're out here to get it done and just slug it, go the distance like Rocky.
Yeah, testing ourselves too. putting yourselves in these positions because it just helps you grow as an individual.
Yeah.
And it's fun. Like that was fun.
Electric. The adrenaline was insane. Just the intensity all the way through.
And I feel like once you graduate from organized sports from childhood, experiences like that, you have to seek them out. And a lot of people, I feel like, don't seek them out. But if you seek them out and you train and you do your thing, it's very rewarding in the end.
Yes. Yeah, it's wicked fun. Did you have any favorite moments out there where you're like, hey, this is what it's all about?
The whole thing. I mean, somebody asked me if I had a favorite part about the Boston Marathon. I mean, the first thing I said was running down Boylston Street. But the whole thing was just an amazing experience from start to finish. Because to start, you drive out in a bus all the way to Hawkinton. You hang out at Hawkinton. Everyone's getting that pre-race nerves, etc. And then you go from Hawkinton all the way to Boston. And just, I said earlier, being a kid from Massachusetts, born and raised, there was just something really, really special about. There's something special about when streets that typically have cars are shut down just for you to run down the middle of them. Is a weird freeing moment too.
And you're in a pack of people the whole way through the race. They're just, literally, it's like a herd just going through the streets.
And that's another thing too, when I was running, is there's people of all different ages out there pushing themselves. Mm-hmm. So you'd run by people that might be like 70 years old, slugging it out. And in my head, I'm saying, wow, that is impressive. And it just gives you that even more extra motivation to say, I can do this. Like, let's go. And something cool too is we wore these pennies that had Inspire on it.
Oh yeah.
Because that was the original brand that we created a couple years ago. So we got these pennies that say Inspire on it. And they're great for running. They're real lightweight. They're awesome. And when I was running, people from the side would just be like, let's go Inspire. You're inspiring me. Let's go, Mr. Inspire. And just little things like that it was pretty surreal and cool. And it was awesome.
You need it. It definitely motivates you. Just
100%.
give a little more than you normally would on a regular day.
Yeah, because I feel like when you're by yourself and your internal thoughts, sometimes, at least for me, my brain can kind of say some things and maybe trick me, but when there's that many people watching and that much positive energy, I really didn't have any negative thoughts throughout the entire race. It was, I'm getting to the finish line, even if I have to crawl. But I paced myself really well where it didn't happen. I actually picked up speed.
Oh yeah, negative split by Brennan right there.
Seriously,
Textbook
I was cooking. Once I hit a hard, after I think mile 22, I hit the fastest. I ran like a 6:40 something.
Let's go.
But then after I hit that 6:40 something, my legs started to hurt. I said, dang, I gotta relax a little bit. I still have like 4 or 5 miles left.
Yes.
But they say once you get to the top of Heartbreak Hill, it's all downhill, which it is for the most part. There are some uphills though.
I also think it's cool because people come from all over the world for the race. So you see people from all over, they're speaking different languages. And so it's cool to see that. And no matter who you are, literally, no matter what corner of the earth you're from, everyone's got the same chance. Whoever can get from that point to Boston fastest ends up winning. And I mean, yeah, it's probably one of the most fair endurance races out there. It's just whoever can run the fastest.
And the cool thing about that race too is point to point.
Yeah.
Where the previous 2 marathons I ran were just loops, so you would run the same loop X amount of times. Where here it's legit 26.2 miles from this point all the way to Boston, where it's so cool.
Train's leaving to Boston. Let's go.
Honestly, I highly recommend anyone that's watching this to do Boston Marathon at least once in their lifetime, especially if you're from the Massachusetts area.
It's so tough to get in.
Yeah.
I mean, the money is insane.
It is. But it was a phenomenal experience, and I'm so grateful for getting the opportunity this year to do it, especially alongside Davis. That was super cool.
Yo, it was an awesome day. Any last words? We'll give Brennan have the last words. He absolutely crushed it, got after a major event. What are you thinking?
It was just special.
Yeah.
It really was special, and our whole family was there, and I'm grateful for all the support that we have to allow us to be the individuals that we are today, and just the continuous improvement day in and day out is what I strive to do.
Let's go.